Rockstars, Eric Andreas, your guitar sage here, and today I'm going to be showing you the top 5 finger picking patterns from songs that you love. And oh yeah, there's going to be a bonus. In fact, 3 bonuses at the end. So I'm going to be showing you a total of 8 patterns, but the first 5 are from songs that you know already. So there's going to be tab or something for you to look at on the screen here afterwards. And then the last 3 are more techniques that I'm just going to show you that you'll be able to bring with you along anywhere. Okay, so hang in there with me. Now I'm going to be using this Epiphone PR150 that I'll be giving away this Saturday, September the 26th, 2020 at our big live broadcast. Check that link out below. I'll be giving that away along with this beautiful Epiphone Dot and a few other goodies. Over $3,500 worth of goodies. So check that out or go to YourGuitarSage.com/dot. Okay, so the first tune is Dust in the Wind. It goes something like this. Okay, so even though I'm going to provide the tab for you here in just a moment, what I like to do is I like to break these tunes down. Left hand, right hand, put them together. So I think about this introduction as basically 2 chords. You have a C major chord and you have an A minor chord. And both of these chords do a little chord noodling, which means you play the chord but you kind of alter some notes in there. More on that, search Your Guitar Sage chord noodling here on YouTube and I'll show you some more advanced techniques there. But essentially, we have a C major chord. We lift the first finger. By the way, all the noodling happens on the 2nd string and 2nd string only for both of these chords. So we have a C major 7, C add 9, and then back to our C major again. So all that noodling happens on the 2nd string. Then when we go to the A minor chord, we're doing the same noodling notes. So just remember that, okay? Now, I think about the finger picking pattern next, and it's gonna go like this. So when I'm practicing, when I'm learning things, and with any of my students, this is how I teach them, is to break this stuff down, to isolate the different pieces. So now, the finger picking part's going to look like this. Okay, starts off with a pinch pick. If you need help with finger picking here on YouTube, search Your Guitar Sage finger picking. I'm assuming that you have some idea about finger picking already though. So we're pinch picking thumb and ring finger on that 2nd string. And then we change chords. Okay, that sort of idea. Now check out the tab here right after, and what I want you to do is take a snapshot of the screen, and then you'll have it available for you. Go through that, and slow and steady with this, but again, learn the left hand, learn the right hand, and put the 2 together. Okay, here's the tab. This next tune is called Nothing Else Matters. It's by Metallica, and this is the very first finger picking pattern that I teach all my students because it makes great use of all the fingers, the necessary fingers that we use for finger picking, and it's a nice arpeggio roll. And it goes like this. Possibly the best first finger picking pattern to learn because you don't have to do anything with the fretting hand. So again, we have strings 6, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, and that's the whole pattern repeating after that. You can do this with any chords, C, A minor, G, D. Doesn't matter the chord, you can do that same pattern every single time, all right? So for Nothing Else Matters, here's the tab. Song 3 is that classic Stairway to Heaven. Here it goes. I'm going to show you some ways that you can think about this, okay? Okay, we'll stop right there. Now, the way I like to think about this, it's an arpeggio up, so strings 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we have a pinch pick. And so what a pinch pick is when you're plucking usually the thumb and, well, it's always the thumb and some other finger. So you're pinching, you're doing this action on the guitar at the same time. So that's how we're introducing these chords. Pinch, 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 pinch. Those three. And in that case, we're using 3 fingers at once. Now, this is a great one to learn just because you can use these higher strings. You've got some sort of pattern going on that will allow you to extrapolate that, bring it to something else, and it's not going to sound like Stairway to Heaven. It's going to sound like your own creation if you're using different chords. So really what I want you to do with these patterns is learn them and then integrate them into your own playing, right? Just like we learn to speak from our parents by just listening to them. In the same way here, if you learn these patterns and then you apply them to your own songs, it's going to start integrating into your own playing. All right, here's the tab. The 4th song is called Street Spirit by Radiohead. It goes something like this. Essentially what we're doing is we're starting off with that bass note and then we're playing the pattern afterwards. And then when we're going to another chord, say like the E minor, we've got the same pattern going on. And then we go to the C. E minor. Now this is a great one because it's really got all those fingers moving. It's a fairly intricate pattern. Will really open your mind to some possibilities that you could do arpeggio-wise. Here's the tab. This next one is called Big Love. It's by Fleetwood Mac, but the version that I'm going to be playing is the acoustic version by Lindsey Buckingham, who was the guitar player for Fleetwood Mac, wrote this song. And it's got a really cool bouncing, if you will, pedaling bass note that I'll show you. It goes something like this. Okay, now, even though this moves fairly quickly, the picking pattern itself is not that difficult, and even chordally what's happening, it's not that difficult. So let's talk about it. There's a pinch pick in the beginning of the thumb and first finger, and this hammer on. So it's pinch and hammer. And now this thumb also just goes the entire time, which is very unique. You don't find that a lot in finger picking. That's why I thought this was a great one for you. So it's going to go nice and slow. It's going to sound something like this. Now, if you learn a pattern like this, or like all these patterns that I'm showing you, you will see that there's a pattern. And typically, if you just concentrate, focus on that one pattern, all the rest of the song lines up. Instead of looking at it, looking at the whole thing, you're going to get overwhelmed. So don't do that. Let's look at that very first pattern. You can hear the repetition, and then when you're changing chords and what have you, you can bring that along, and it's going to guide you. Okay. So, for instance. Next chord's going to go. So it's similar. Now the third chord in this is an F, essentially, and what we're going to do is do the same thing that we did for the A minor. So we've got this. And then back to our G. And notice that we've got these two fingers down the entire time. These two fingers, except for that hammer, okay? This is a great one. Bring it with you. Get that. This is great for getting that thumb moving. You can use any of these techniques that we've used for any of these tunes so far and insert them into your own playing. But this is a great one, especially for keeping that bouncing, pedaling thumb moving. All right, here's a tab. Okay, as per promise, I have 3 bonuses for you here, and these are ones that I find to be invaluable. That's why I had to include them in here. But very quickly, my friends, if you're liking this video, go ahead and hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, notification bell, all videos when that pops up. Leave a comment below too if you have some favorite fingerpicking songs that I did not include in the list here. And don't forget to sign up for the giant giveaway that we're doing this Saturday, September the 26th on 2020, right? 11 a.m. here on YouTube. The link below will get you there, or go to YourGuitarSage.com/dot. Okay, here we go. Now, here are the 3. Now, this is one that I call pa-pa, or I also call it the harpsichord technique, but essentially it's where you introduce the chord with the bass note, as per usual, as we said, and then we're doing this kind of clawing technique with fingers 1, 2, and 3 for the rest of the chord. You can place those wherever you want in the chord, but essentially it's going to sound something like this. So you really could do this with any chord combination. Now this is in 3 or 6, so it doesn't have to be in that, but for the pa-pa sound where you're pa-pa, that sort of sound, it does need to be in 6 or in 3 because that's how we're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, and this is how you do it, is you pluck on 1 and then claw the chord for 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. The 1 and the 4, or the 1 and the 1 every single time. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. However you want. So if it's a G chord, you're plucking that bass note and then the rest of the chord. So just take any one chord and practice this technique. There's no need for a tab here because you're just hitting the bass note of any chord and then the rest of the chord. Doesn't matter what chord. It could be any one of the thousands that are out there. I just want you to get an idea of this technique. Take one chord, practice it. Let's take a look at this next one. I call this one the Johnny Cash technique just because it sounds very country western swing type. It could be used with Folsom Prison Blues and a million other tunes, but it sounds something like this. This is the idea. Again, doesn't matter what chords you're using, so there's no need for tab. You need to understand how the technique works. So take any chord. In this case here, I'm using an E chord, and I'm using my thumb to pluck the 2 bass notes on strings 6 and 4 in this case, and then I'm using fingers 1 and 2 to pluck some other notes. So in this case here, strings 3 and 2. So I'm going and then playing the next bass note. Then when I switch to the A chord, I'm going back and forth between the 5th string and the 4th string. And back to our E again. And then for the B7 that I was playing here. And the idea is, this is also called Travis picking, by the way. It's when your thumb is bouncing around on the different strings to get that bouncing swing style bass note hop that we're doing here, usually between the octaves, or in the case of the A chord, between the 1 and the 5 of the chord. Now when I went to the B7, I'm going between the 1 and the 3 of the chord, and then the octave. Essentially, we're just trying to keep that thumb on the lower strings, and we're bouncing back and forth either between the octaves, the 5ths, or the 3rds. Okay? Now, again, doesn't matter what chord you're using for this, it's just a technique. So start off with one chord, get it set in your mind, and then you can bring this to any chord progression and any chords that you desire. All right, let's keep going. This next technique I've taken from a transcription of Kids that I did, Kids by MGMT. And first I'll play it for you here, and then I'll show you basically what the technique is and how we can bring this into other tunes. So it sounds something like this. Okay, so the idea here is that we're moving through these chords, we're playing a melody, but we're also establishing this bass line, this moving bass line. Okay, and I'm also playing some melody notes. So I won't show you this whole tune because I have an entire tutorial for it. Just search YourGuitarSage Kids, one where I'm performing it and another one where I'm teaching it, so you can check that out. But essentially, what I want you to extrapolate from this is that if you're just playing a chord and you're playing that bass note, you can do other stuff. You've got that driving bass line like a bass player. I go to that C chord, right? You be creative. You can do anything you want. You just want to keep that bass line going. Then with this G chord or whatever chord you want to use. Just keeping that bass line. You can, infinite possibilities there. All right, more on that. You just search YourGuitarSage Kids and you're gonna find more stuff on that. All right, my friends, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments below. I would love to help you. Please let me know. Join me for the live broadcast this Saturday where I'll be giving away all those goodies, September 26th, 2020. I'll see you there. As always, be kind to all beings. Do the right thing always. Practice your guitar. I'll see you in the next video.